Howdy y'all, JT Johnson here with another Roll to Wound battle report. This is part 2 of my Slambo GT battle report. I took my Ogor Mawtribes Underguts to San Antonio, Texas for a 5-round tournament. This is part 2 with games 4 and 5 and my after tournament thoughts. So let's get right to it. Alright, so I have a link in the description for part 1 of this video where I go through sort of my list, games 1, 2, and 3. If you're familiar with the channel, this is pretty much the same format I run for most GTs. I sort of break them into 2 parts. I also have timestamps for the beginning of each game and stuff like that. So, nothing really much else to say. Let's jump into game number 4.
She's on the board.
All right, we're here at game number 4, and we're playing Hangover Heroes. I'm playing Justin, winner of the Games Workshop Austin GT, whatever the hell it was called. And he's got Idenith, and he outdropped me, so who's going first? I'm going first. All right. He gave me first turn, super fast. I basically just ran Ogor's Man Trappers and his cat to take this point, shuffled around, sort of adjusted my line, tried a Mystic Shield, it was unbound, and didn't take that point. Moved the cannon back, ran for Ferocious Advance, going into Idenith, turn 1. All right, finishing up Idenith turn 1. He moved the eels over here and killed Ogor's Man Trappers. Ran for a Ferocious Advance with his 3 heroes over there for his battle tactic. Moved up with the bows, put 8 wounds on my cannon, made a 10-inch charge with the Ishland guard, and they finished off the cannon and killed 2.5 ogres. And now we're going into a priority roll. 6 to 6. I win ties, and I probably pretty much need to take it, so I think I'm going to see what I can do.
Well, the only thing to think of is all your cannons are going to have to shoot my Ishland guard.
All right, finishing up my turn, move Rothgarn back, cast Ferocious Maw. I took Kill a Battle Line to destroy the Ishland because I had to, like, that had to happen. It was not something that I would really want to, but we did it. It took all the shooting I had except for 1 cannon, or 2 cannons. 2 cannons got to shoot the Reavers, 1 missed, 1 hit with 5 damage. And
only 1 cannon shot the Reavers.
Oh, 1 cannon shot at the Reavers.
And you did all that attack, that's why that some died.
But 1 cannon, I thought 1 cannon shot and missed.
It did, it
missed. Oh, it missed on it, sorry. And that's it. I collect my points, and we're moving into Idenith turn 2. All right, so Justin basically took Conquer on that point. Notice he took it. Noblars are dead. He moved up his eels here. The Alternos and the King are both made combat, and the Thralls failed.
Okay, yeah.
That's pretty much it, but you notice that he's killed. I've got 1 unit of lead belchers, 2 cannons left. Not much going on with that. So we're going to a priority and see what happens. Oh.
You win ties again.
It's a 1-to-1 and I win ties, so I'm going to take it to get some points. All right, so my turn went Slay the Warlord that was right here. It wasn't a guarantee. He was on a 1-up save. And I managed to do it with a combination of Voracious Maw and some shooting. Mainly the lead belchers got it.
It was mostly the spell.
Yeah, mostly the spell, honestly. So I went in and charged over here with a cannon and the Tyrant, who I finest houred. Yeah, I killed 1 eel and did 3 wounds to another. I just pushed up with those 2 to try to block some lanes, pulled back to the Noblars, So going into his turn. There we go. All right, so Justin took aggressive expansion for the 2 points he already held. He charged in with the Thralls, killed the Butcher. Balternos and the Eels killed the Cannon and the Lead Belchers. And all I have is 3 units left alive.
Hey, let's see. Beat it. Beat it again. You've already done it once.
I'm going to beat a 6 right now.
No. Okay, that's probably.
All right, yeah. So if I won that, I would actually have something to get 1 point. This turn, see now it's not. The game's going to be over because I'm going to be tabled. And good game. Final board state.
All right, so there was my game against Justin. I think that's probably the first time that I played Justin. Like I said, he's a well-known player here in Texas. He's a Harambe's Hero guy, and won the GT with his Iron Jaws in Austin this year. Constantly at the top table at all the locals he goes to. So he's a good player, always brings very aggressive armies. It feels like that's what we were talking about after the game. He likes to run forth and smash and be aggressive. Right there, you've seen I had 185 wounds in this army. The Ideneth have the ability to remove 185 wounds, especially stuff on a low save like that very quickly. I've played Ideneth a few times, and I played Mr. Ratley a few times, and he has also tabled me, as you've seen in the battle report. My only other game was against Vince, and did better in that game with my Ogres, but it's a hard matchup. He's just got to get the damage through, especially if they get some good charges. He's running two kings, and those kings just totally eat things. The eels eat things. So very, very rough matchup for me. I got lucky, honestly. We talked about it afterwards with the 2 priority rolls that I won. If I would have lost the second one going into turn 3, I mean, I'd have been tabled even sooner. And I was hoping to get lucky there at the end. If I'd have won another priority, I would have probably ended up with 1 point, and then he would have tabled me and have been a loss. But I got a few points out of it. Was a loss, but when you're losing to a really good player with a really good list, you can't really complain much. And yeah, good game, Justin. Appreciate it. And going into my final game, turn 5 at Slambo.
All right, we're playing Remember the Alamo. I'm here with Ryan from Tough Guy Crowd. Tough Crowd. He's got sons running the Ogres, and obviously outdropped me. Who's going first?
I want to take the first.
He's going to take the first turn. All right, going in turn 1. All right, the fastest turn I've had. You took Monster's Take over there, and you shuffled.
Yeah.
Your Mystic Shield and a Flaming Weapon. Mystic Shield was the one thing I didn't want, but I was out of range to deny. So, battle objective complete. Hold 1, hold 2. Do not hold more.
Correct.
I got your Monster's Takeover. So 4. All right, my first turn, I first advanced with a couple guys. I was not able, because of just my movement, to get all 4 cannons into the Little Giant shots. So I only was able to take down 1 Little Giant with a really good wound roll of 12. I mean, I can't complain about that. Really just shuffled up, take points. It is 5-4 right now, and we are rolling.
No.
2-1. Let me think about it, because the second player will lose a point. All right, guys, so we finished up Gargan's turn. I gave it to him. I burnt the center objective over here because we can do that for the mission. He took Conquer right there. The Gatebreaker came down, smashed the 20 Noblars. He threw a rock, finished off 2 Ogres out of that. and going into my turn and see what we can do. All right, my turn. We're fucking ogres are pissed. Ogres are pissed. I took, and hungry. I took a Savage Spearhead. Rothgar dropped down. He moved off that point, so he was able to take the point. I was doing that just to sort of keep it even. And then I said, okay, I'm going to shoot everything into his gate breaker. However, before we got there, I went Voracious Maul. Voracious Maul went off for how many mortal wounds?
19.
19 mortal wounds on Voracious Maul. Again, Butcher's the champ. He threw the blast keg, and I shot with probably a couple cannons and a couple units and was able to drop him. And then I still had about half the army shoot at his general and he's down to 18 wounds now.
He's taking another 17 or 18 as well.
Yeah, so we're going into a roll-off for turn 3. 4 to 6. All right.
I have to take it.
He's going to take it. All right, finished up his turn. He took Savage Spearhead. Had a bad roll for the run over here and couldn't get quite in. I blocked off with my Knoblars pretty good there. He did take him out. Rothgar managed to live through that and did a wound back. And we're sitting right there going into my turn.
Your turn 3.
Yeah, my turn 3. Well, I picked Slay the Warlord, and because he was down to 15,
Was
16,
down to 13 at the
13
time.
wounds, and I only did 10 wounds with all of my shooting, close combat, spells, everything. So he still has 3 left. Big Slambo.
Big Slambo saved it.
Yeah, because there was one Iron Blaster shot, failed the wound roll, and then Slamboed into the save. That would have probably been enough to take him down right there. But we're going to go into a priority going into turn 4.
Basically, I do bring it down.
Yeah. I got a 6.
And I rolled a 1, he rolled a 6. I was going to Slambo this. He went first, so it isn't even going to matter if I Slamboed into a 6. So it's your go. All right, so once again, his boss is down to 1 wound. He took Kill a Battle Line, which is right there, got in, did it. Look, actually pretty close. It was close on wounds, but he did do it, did it with a monster, captured both of those points. So he got 6 points for his turn. We're tied 16-16 going into my turn 4. Really not killing that giant. Just come on, guys, let's get him down. It's really hurt me. So we're going into my turn. We'll see what I can do. All right. All right, guys, so my turn. I took Conquer on this one. I had 1 wound left on the damn general and got it off Voracious Maul. Fell. He did a couple wounds to my guys. Other than that, I sort of had to move some guys over. I'm mostly focused with everything in range, and I took down 1 little giant, and I did a couple of wounds on him. We are going into a roll-off for turn 5, and here we go.
Got 3.
All right, I was going to Slambo it, but I don't need to, so we're going into, I'll take the turn.
Okay.
And I'll say that, but I think I'm going to take the turn and see if I can get points, and then we'll figure out what it looks like.
Yeah.
All right, super fun game with Ryan, and if you look at the timestamp in the, I think there's a timestamp by one of the commenters. It's like 17 minutes into this tournament, you hear a big timber. That was actually Ryan. He was yelling that all tournament every time one of his giants went down. At the end, it sort of got away a little bit on points for him, especially with me getting some priorities when I need them. I think when we end up talking it out, it was like, hey, I'm going to kill that, I'm going to kill this, and then he was able to do one thing, and so we sort of talked out that last turn for both of us, and I came away with a win. So 3-2, not unhappy with that. It was a fun game with Ryan. It was nice to meet him, and it was a good chance to play one of the Tough Crowd guys. They were super fun at the tournament. Let's say this. They made more than one person laugh more than one time this weekend. That is for sure. Those guys are definitely interesting, fun crowd. They should be. Hey, that's their new name. Should be called the Fun Crowd. But Ryan was a great opponent. We actually spent some time just talking about everything, talking about the mission, talking about the weekend afterwards, because our game wrapped just a little bit quick, I think. So yeah, that was the last turn, 3-2. Really, really happy with that. I came into the weekend hoping for a 3-2, and my 2 losses got a little ugly, and there was a couple close games there. But I'm telling you what, the wound pool for the ogres is what really floats you, because they're continuing to munch through things, but you just got more there. It's kind of like dealing with giants. Giants, there's only 4 models, but each one is like 35 wounds. And if you can get the DPS check on them, you're going to win. Ogres are almost the same way a little bit. If you can get the DPS check on them, like my Ideneth game, I got nothing. You're gonna crumble my lines. And it happened late in the game, 3 with Seraphon. So for all you ogre players out there, that's something that you have to understand. And I didn't understand it for a while. And with Brian talking to him a little bit, he's like, it's a late game army, and it is. It's basically I'm here to last to turn 4 and 5. That's the point of the army, and I'm going to wear you down. I'm going to shoot and charge and melee, and I'm going to continue to just get ahead of you. And that's sort of how the army works. Even though it has a low armor save, the wound density is just really high, and the list with this redundancy of it's just a lot of stuff. It's just a lot of things that shoot, a lot of things that charge, and a lot of things that do close combat. And what people don't realize is actually the lead belchers are better in close combat than they are shooting, and everything does impact hits. So a lot of the stuff I'm telling you is just regurgitated from Brian, where it's like, this army is a 3-phase army. We shoot you with everything, we charge you, can do impact hits, and then we go to combat and melee. And they're not super great at any of those. They're not like the top tier of any of that, but they're average to above average in all that, so it tends to help out. In fact, the only real shortcoming to this army, it isn't even speed. A lot of people point to speed. I mean, the ogres move, you got 8 and 9 movement on this stuff. It's like they're not slow. It's the armor save is really the one weakness, and that's only on the Noblars and the lead belchers. The iron blasters are a 4-up, which is not horrible, and your tyrant is running as a 3-up or a 2-up, so not bad. Personal MVP of this tournament, hands down the Butcher. Hands down the Butcher. In fact, the only game that the Butcher didn't earn his points back was game number 3 against Seraphon, and 2 reasons. Well, there's a couple reasons for that. The first reason is I pushed him up further than I really, really probably should, to get him next to the maul pot, and I was using the maul pot for blocking, and of course that left him in the line of fire. Second reason he died early is because my opponent, which he even said after the game, said Elijah was like, I targeted your Butcher. He was my number 1 priority early game to get rid of the spells and get rid of all of the things that he can do. So he was targeted early in that game and went out. But you think about how many mortal wounds Voracious Maul did, because I only really talked about the times where it went off crazy. There was some other turns where it did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wounds. So if I had to guess, I'm sitting there at 30 to 40 wounds, mortal wounds, just from Voracious Maul in this tournament. Super good. So, don't underestimate the Butcher and don't underestimate Voracious Maul. It's just like when that spell goes off crazy, it goes off crazy, and it can be game changing a little bit. Biggest disappointment of the game, man, I might have to say the Tyrant. I mean, other than him just issuing orders and giving out the buffs, every time that I ran him into combat, he didn't do anything, and he died quite a bit. Also, it seemed like during the tournament. So, I mean, it's weird. The Tyrant isn't necessarily a linchpin, but he's such a force multiplier. Of course, you take him as your general, but every time I charged him in, it'd be like, oh, I did 1 wound or 2 wounds, when you're really hoping that the Tyrant would, do 5 to 10 wounds. As far as the event, it was really fun. Dan and all the Slambo guys did a great job running it. As always, they always have fun. The Slambo packet, we all know here locally, is always going to have those weird missions where they're pretty much standard mission with some extra rules on top. All my opponents were great. It was a fun weekend. The event hall was open late, so there was practice games. There was a lot of times that we could go and hang out and just talk and meet people and network. And, that's what I really enjoy about these GTs. As far as my placings, which if you want to see the placings, you want to see the lists for all the top table, the top place. I think I got the top 5 lists in there. I've got the placings through 15, and I got all my opponents' lists in the link to the blog post in the description of this video. But also we got I ended up getting 34th place, and Mr. Ratley, I think, is at 27th. So, you know, as far as Rotor Room as a club, as a team, however you want to put it, hey, we're okay. We both went 3-2. He went 3-2 with his Ideneth and his losses. He lost one game to the number one place guy, and he lost the second game to a really good Maggot-kin player. So his losses, you know, when you're winning games at these GTs, you're going to face tough competitions, and that's good. If you're losing to tough competition, nothing wrong with that. All right, so that wraps it up for the Slambo 2020 GT. Hopefully before Masters, which I've already got the invite to. I think I finished 22nd in the state with my cumulative points. I've already bought my ticket, so I will be heading to Waco. We will have some coverage on the Masters GT, so that's awesome for the channel, for me. Hopefully get a couple locals in, and we hope to get some battle reports, some standard, not tournament style battle reports made this summer. Also, I'm trying to figure out the next book that I'd like to review. I've already done the Soul Black Gravelord book. I'd like to do another in-depth deep dive into that, to the next book. I haven't decided what. Might do Daughters, might do Ideneth, might do OBR. I'm sort of just debating on which direction I want to go. But that being said, hey guys, thanks for watching, and y'all be good.